Good afternoon, everyone. Today is August the 8th of 2023. The time is now 5:40 p.m. This is the regular scheduled meeting of the Richland 1 Board of Commissioners. We do have an agenda set before us. We will entertain a motion at this time for executive session.
Madam Chair, I move that we go into executive session.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion to go into executive session. It's been made by Commissioner Clyburn. It was seconded by Commissioner Lomanak. We'll open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote, and we will be taking the vote electronically or manually. We're going to take it manually. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose say nay. The ayes have it. Let the vote reflect that it is unanimous. Also, let it reflect that Commissioner Bishop and Commissioner Devine is not present for the vote. We'll go into executive session to discuss the following: 2 student transfer requests, as well as under the Office of Human Resources, 3 administrative hires, and the hiring of personnel. At this time, we will excuse ourselves to go into executive session. We will return at 7:00 p.m. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Again, the time is now 7:01 p.m. The day is August the 8th of 2023. Again, this is the regular scheduled meeting of the Richland 1 Board of Commissioners. Board has been in executive session since the hour of 5:30 p.m. We did recess out of executive session at 5:57 p.m. And that was with a motion from Commissioner Weston and a second by Commissioner Myers. The vote was unanimous. Present for executive session, not present for executive session was Commissioner Devine and Commissioner Bishop. At this time, it is time to move forward into our public session, and we'll begin with our call to order. And I'm sorry, in executive session, we did discuss the 2 student transfer requests, as well as 3 administrative hires and 1 hiring of the personnel of the 34 teachers. At this time, we will call this meeting to order, and we'll begin with invocation, being presented on tonight by Reverend Dr. Gerald Salmon of Latson Presbyterian Church. Step to the podium. Glad to have you with us tonight.
Thank you, Madam Chair, school board members, as well as the community. Before I get started, I would like to take the opportunity to give a message from my father, Jasper Salmon. He reminded me that 69 of his 73 years were spent in Richland 1. Mm-hmm. That's 74% of his life. Now that's commitment. Yeah. That's commitment. And he's cheering you on. He knows the challenges that are in front, but we know that you are able to meet those challenges. If I may, and I promise, I'm a Baptist preacher sometimes, so if I say I won't be long, that means for real, I'm not going to be long. But I preached a sermon called For Back to School on Sunday. And the title of the sermon was Bring Your A Game. Bring your A game. Because we have known what it's like to survive, but this is the year that we're going to thrive.
That's right.
This is the year to move forward, to excel, and not accept anything less. I do want to say something in that sermon that I quoted my favorite basketball player. And it's not Steph Curry, it is not LeBron, it's not KD, it's not Kyrie. It's a sister by the name of Asia Wilson. And Asia Wilson says something that resonated with me, and I have to share it with you. She says this, in light of the challenges that all of us face, but here's what she said when she was in an interview, and the interviewer was asking her about this player and that player, and the news here and the news there. Here's what she said. She said, I don't really pay attention to the outside noise or who's in front of me, because I feel God has equipped me to be who I am. And I feel he's given me enough to be what I can be.
That's right.
He has equipped, I hope y'all heard that. He has equipped me to be all that I can be, in spite of the noise. And let's keep it 100. There's noise about Richland 1. It's unfair noise. But there is a difference between noise and news. So block out the noise and distribute the news.
That's right.
Because there's so much that can be done here and so much that will be done.
Thank you.
All right. Now, let us pray. For every mountain you brought us over. For every valley you've seen us through. For every blessing, hallelujah. For this we give you praise. Father God, we come to you thanking you first of all for who you are. We thank you, God, because we know that you are the ultimate, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. We also want to thank you, Lord, for what you have done and what you will do. You have brought us through this summer, God, and we have stepped into school year 2023 to 2024. But we need you, God. You know the challenges, but you are the God that has a track record of overcoming whatever could overwhelm us. So, God, we thank you, and we ask that you protect this district. We ask that you touch every student, every teacher, every administrator, every worker, every volunteer, every parent, and every board member, so that the compassion and caring and commitment will be exemplified every day. And we pray for this superintendent, God. We ask that you give him wisdom and insight to lead in ways that might even blow his mind as he holds to your unchanging hand. God, we ask that you give this board the wisdom and insight to form and implement and monitor policies that benefit this district in a world of chaos, confusion, contradiction, division, and deception. We ask that you keep this board and district in unity. Somebody say unity.
Unity.
In unity and in your care. And now on this day, we turn this meeting over to you, asking that you have your way, because you are the potter, we are the clay. Now mold us and make us after your will while we're waiting, yielded and still. It is in your Son, Jesus' name, that we do pray. And every heart, every mind, and every child of God who loves God says, amen.
Amen. What a way to start the year. All right. Dr. Selman, thank you so very much for being here. And thank you for all that your church does in support of this district. And again, you forgot something. You are a product of this district, Columbia High. So welcome back home. Glad to have you here with us on tonight. At this time, we will move to 6.2, which is the adoption of the agenda. Dr. Witherspoon, there are no changes at this time?
No changes.
Okay. We'll call for a motion.
Move to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Devine and second by Commissioner Clyburn to accept the agenda on tonight. We'll open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote, and the vote will be done electronically. Let the record reflect the vote is unanimous and tonight's agenda has been adopted and approved. Let the record also reflect that our Vice Chairman, Commissioner Bishop, has not arrived as of yet. We'll now move on to 6.3, which is public participation. This is where an individual can sign up for an agenda, a non-agenda item, and appeal to the board for 3 minutes. At the 2.5 warning, our parliamentarian, Commissioner Devine, will cue you to wrap up your comments. The board will not respond to you on tonight, but they will respond to you in writing within 7 to 10 business days. We do have one individual that has signed up, and we're going to ask that they step to the mic at this time, Mr. Fegan Durant.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am normally here to say that it is okay to talk about this board and talk about some decisions that are made and being made. Some of the decisions I'm not happy with, some of them I deal with it. But today I'm here to highlight the robotics team at Lower Richland High School. These individuals over the past 7 months have traveled every part of this state. They've gone to the upstate. They've gone to the capital city, and they've gone all the way on the coast. They have been recognized by national publications. Most of those students in there are in the top 10% of their classes. A couple of years ago when I got involved, these students were talking about solving real world problems now. They're talking about solving environmental issues that we have in Lower Richland, water retention, water loss, sewer drainage. They're also talking about solving problems that this world has that we've created. One student currently right now is at the University of South Carolina. He is dealing with a research project dealing with AI, dealing with program language, Python language. He's doing it currently right now. We have a current student that is at two students at a corporate 100 company, I apologize, that are working on the security of credit cards. I got that last night. Now, in addition to that, we have a future student that will be a data analysis. Mathematics is her passion. I know it quite well. Now, on top of that, we have a future architect at Lower Richland. I want to make sure I point out at Lower Richland. Now, there's some things I can't wait on this district for, and I didn't wait on it. We've got sponsorships that are coming already. And we're working with local universities, my alma mater, South Carolina State, the grants that were indicated by the National Science Institute. That's coming this fall. I will be back to talk about it. Those are some things I want to highlight about this. This district has 3 robotics teams, Dreher High School and Keenan. Keenan just got there started, and they're doing a wonderful job getting started already. Also, things I want to point out, that these students are learning real-world experience. Classrooms aren't going to teach you everything. That's why you have volunteers. I want to make sure this district recognizes our volunteers. You've got people that are working third shift, that are coming to Lower Richland, helping these kids learn how to program, learn how to wire, learn how to do a whole bunch of stuff. Now, on top of that, you have teachers, and we got to support our teachers. Teachers are coming to these conferences, bringing their kids. They're coming out of their pockets doing different things. We got to support our teachers, regardless of what that means. Now, when we get to teachers, I'm talking specifically about the CAPE program. Okay, CAPE program. We need to fund that CAPE program, because a couple times I had to complain. Things happen, but I had to complain about it. We need to make sure we fund this CAPE program. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Mrs. Beelan White, who leads that team at Lower Richland, Coach Curtis Curlo and Dr. Addison. They're doing wonderful things. They're leading the way. Since we say 30 seconds, speed is time over distance, okay? So my inspiration didn't come from any book or anything. It came from real life. I'm going to remind you of a story that some people may have been thought about. I'll take you back to 1970, March of 1970 in Lamar, South Carolina. There was a riot there, and a future governor was there also as well. So that bus burned, and those students did, I'm almost done. So one of those teachers on there was my grandmother. She drove from something to teach in Lamar. So that's my inspiration this afternoon. So my daughters can know that their grandmother kept teaching while she had a bunch of writers. Also, one more thing also, their cousin has a painting in the International Slave Museum that says King of Kings. That kept me motivated. So I'll be back later this fall to talk about Lower Richland.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Durant. Again, the board will not respond on tonight, but we will respond to you in 7 to 10 business days. This does exhaust our listing of public participants. We'll now move on to the consent agenda. And if there's no objection from the board, we will read all 3 items in and take one vote, not unless there's an item any board member want me to pull out at this time.
I don't want you to pull out an item, but I do have a question about 7.02. So
Okay.
we can read it all,
Right.
all at one time.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. 7.1 is the minutes from the July 25th, 23 meeting. 7.2 is a contract extension for Microsoft software license subscription renewal. 7.3 is a contract extension for professional architectural and engineering services. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Myers and second by Commissioner Devine. We'll now open the floor for any questions. I believe, Commissioner Devine, you have a question on 7.2, so we'll go with the Microsoft software license questions first.
All right, thank you. Dr. Witherspoon, or to appropriate staff, on this particular item, I did notice there were more licenses suggested than staff and that we have. Can we get an explanation as to why that is?
Dr. Coppett.
Good evening, Chairwoman Harris, Board of Commissioners, Dr. Witherspoon. That number is anticipation of additional staff that we need. And for clarification, our Microsoft license covers more than just a Microsoft login. That covers our server operating system, our desktop and laptop operating systems, our server client access licensing, our Microsoft Advanced Threat Protection Security Software, Office 365 Productivity Suite for students and staff, our Office 365 email, Teams and associated apps, Power Automate, SharePoint, Microsoft Planner, Microsoft Defender, Microsoft Intune, which is our desktop management system, our Azure Directory Support, Azure Directory Premium Plan 1, and Microsoft eDiscovery.
Okay. Any additional questions? For you, Commissioner Vine, you still have the floor.
Thank you. So as we did with Microsoft going forward, I think we had this discussion in our committee meeting regarding the safety and security of Microsoft. Do you have any data regarding the safety of the Microsoft and Microsoft licenses?
We can pull the data agreements if needed that discuss the safety and security of Microsoft if the board needs that information.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, any additional questions on 7.2? Commissioner Lomanak?
Thanks. Just to go back to what Commissioner Devine was asking, currently we list about 4,000 employees on our website. Where does the 6,000 come from? Are we expecting 2,000 more employees that are going to need these licenses? Because it's a third more requests than we list as total employees in the district.
Yes, sir. That's just our average, our estimate that we get to get our quote, and then we have our final number.
So if we only have 4,000 employees, does that mean this number will go down by close to a third?
We can adjust that number as needed, yes, sir.
Okay. How many licenses did we purchase, or actually, let me ask you this. Last year, how many did we actually utilize?
I can get that number, sir.
That would be great, because I would imagine it's going to be close to that, and I'm just wondering if we could save $100 and something thousand. That would be helpful. Thanks.
Okay, any additional questions on the Microsoft software? Okay. Any questions on, I think you're good. Any questions on the professional architectural and engineering services? Commissioner Weston?
I fully support FDG policy that states it's designed to support minority women within the district, the county, and the state. But when I looked at the list, it had some people listed who were from Oregon, from North Carolina, Colorado. And so I was wondering about why they were on that list.
Okay. Are we talking about this is just the list
Contract
of,
extension, professional architectural engineer services.
this is the list that we comprise, sort of like how we do, I believe, the lawyers. It's just a listing of people we can pull from. So it's not saying that they have any work as of yet. It's just saying that these are the individuals that have met our criteria, and we're listing them that if we need to pull someone in for a project, this is the list we would pull from because they've already vetted. You can come on up. I was about to call a commissioner outing. You was about to become a commissioner. Ms. Outing, can you speak to what this listing shows? So,
Sure. Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Witherspoon, this list comprises of the vendors that were awarded during open and fair competition. So this advertisement is done throughout the state, so it's open nationally. So those vendors that are qualified through our procurement process, they can be added, but there's no guarantee that we will use them.
Okay, so it's just the listing.
It's a listing. Yes, ma'am.
And how will you decide who you will use and when?
Each project, they make a determination from our facilities department based on the scope of work that's presented.
okay. Any additional questions on the architecture and engineering services? All right, we'll call for the vote at this time. Thank you, Ms. Outing.
I do have a question about the minutes.
Okay, about the minutes.
Yes,
Okay, let's go back up to
701.
701.
I request that we table the voting on the July 25th minutes with, there were inaccuracies based on your absence. And so those inaccuracies need to be straightened out with Ms. Wilson so that we can make sure that it is correct.
You have the minutes? There are inaccuracies on the minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All
They
right.
deal with,
What we need to do, this is why I asked if we wanted to pull anything out. Okay. We should have pulled this out because right now we're in a collective vote.
Okay.
Do you have those items listed?
I do have some of them listed. It was just with your absence.
Okay.
It was not noted.
Okay.
And it still had some information about the vice chair being you instead of the vice chair. So it was all in the voting that we did in
I got you.
501 through 608.
So can you amend the motion
Okay.
to approve the items listed in the consent agenda with the following corrections to the minutes, and then we can still approve them with your correction in the amendment. When you make the motion, then somebody else second it, we'll take it up for discussion, and then we can vote. Okay, so go ahead and.
I vote that I move that we amend the minutes. And that we make those corrections.
Can you state the correction?
There are numerous ones. There are 501 through 608. So it's 701, 703, 803, 804, 805, 806. The board report says the chairwoman Harris did something, and it should be vice chair. And there was some other things that were there.
So pretty much just taking my name out and putting Dr. Bishop's in there is the
That
amendment.
and changing the fact that at one point, Mr. Bishop, Commissioner Bishop said that there was one vote who was absent, and that was Myers. She came in, but after that, it didn't say you were absent. And so they still included you in not being absent. They did not report that in the minutes.
It shouldn't report me being absent in the minutes.
When we took a vote, it said Myers was absent. The others of us voted, but you were not here. So it should have said you and Myers.
Okay, we'll get it cleaned up. Yeah, because if I would, yeah.
That may be a software issue.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That may be a software
Okay, with those corrections and amendments, can we get a second on those amendments to pull my name out and Dr. Bishop to be put in there?
Second.
Okay, it's been properly seconded by Commissioner Myers to make the amendments to Dr. Bishop versus the chairwoman, as well as something else in there you said. Votings and pulling me out. All right, it's been moved and properly second. Point of question and discussion, Commissioner Lomanak.
Given the responses about 7.02, I moved to table 7.02 until we get more information.
Whoa. We're on an amended motion right now for the
Okay.
minutes. Let's
Sorry.
deal with that, and then we're gonna come back. Okay? Any question or discussion on the amendment to the minutes? Commissioner Myers.
Not a question, just want to make a statement. Just looking back at the minutes, I do notice in the beginning, it do stated that you wasn't there and it said what
Right.
time I arrived.
Right.
So I guess for clarity,
We'll clean
just
it up.
repeating it would just be able to clean it up.
Right, we'll clean it up, yeah. Yeah, it's normally stated what board member is not present at the beginning of the minutes. Okay, so let's now vote on the minutes and the amendment to the minutes as previously stated by Commissioner Weston. We're gonna take the vote manual, because I'm quite sure there's nothing in there. You fixed it? We're gonna do this under 7-1 as an amended motion. Okay, all right. Let's vote on whether or not to accept the corrections, everyone. My screen frozen. Eva, I'm a yes, it's frozen. Let me vote. Not letting them vote either. I think we are. Are y'all able to vote?
Yeah.
Well, it don't like me and Divine.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I know we're in the midst of voting. I'm confused on the motion for the minutes, because my minutes reflect that you were not here in the time that Ms. Myers arrived at the meeting. So, Ms. Weston, can you tell me again what you're asking us to approve?
When
I
they were,
I do have a parliamentarian question.
Can we do this part first, and then we'll get to your.
The parliamentarian question addresses this.
Okay.
Because there was a time when I tried to address something after the vote had been called, and I was told once the vote had been called, I was not allowed to address it. I accepted that. I respected
You're right.
it.
I'm going to vote.
We've started
but
voting.
I still want that question
Okay.
answered, though.
Well, all discussion will cease.
That's right.
And we'll go ahead and take the vote, and then we will come back and clarify what the minutes say.
where are my minutes not pulling up?
And we're only voting at this time on the amendment to the minutes. We are. All those in favor of the amendments? Okay, we good now? Okay, so the motion did pass with 4 yes and 2 abstentions from Commissioner Weston and Commissioner Devine. It's your motion. You abstained from your own motion?
I wanted to table it, and you said you were corrected into that, and so I just abstained from doing that.
Okay. Okay, the motion passed to accept the amended corrections, but to Commissioner Weston's point, it does list things such as board report, Chairwoman Cheryl Harris. We will clean that up. I give exactly what you're saying. So we do need to fix it. This is the paper copy. It's not finalized. It hasn't been signed by us, so we will clean that up. I appreciate that. Answer your question, sir. Okay, now we're gonna go back to the original motion. We are now voting on 7, 1, 2, and 3. I think there's a question on the Microsoft licensors or something, Commissioner Lomanak.
Thank you, Chairman Harris. Given the responses to my questions and Commissioner Devine's, I move to table 7.02 until we get more information about precisely the number of licenses we need, because we could be hindering $150,000 more dollars than we need if we only need 4,000 or even 4,500 contracts. So I move to table.
Second.
Okay, are you seconding?
Second.
Okay, it's been second. We'll open the floor for question and discussion. One important question I want to ask the superintendent: does this impact opening up school?
Madam Chair, it would, and I think Dr. Kopic did state that that's an estimate, but we pay on a PO, which means the licenses that are indeed used. So that is an accurate number, but we will certainly provide the numbers from last year to the board.
So are you saying that the 6,000 is a projected budgeted number, but it's not, the money isn't spent until a purchase order
That is
comes
correct.
through? Is that what we're saying?
That is
Even
correct.
procurement? Okay, all right. Any additional questions or comments? Okay, Commissioner Lomanak.
Well, does that mean we got 6,000 last year? Because it's the same price as what we spent last year. And I'm just trying to figure out how we would get 6,000 for 4,000 employees.
Well, there is some, according to what Dr. Cobbett said, I think there is some duplication depending on the actual license for whether it's the suite, whether it's for some other aspect of Microsoft. But we will indeed get the numbers. But to your point, we pay for only what's used, not the estimate.
Okay. Any additional, Commissioner Bishop, Commissioner Devine?
And also, Mr. Lomanak, I asked that same question in board meeting, a committee meeting. And just to give another explanation, if you have 100 employees and someone leaves, you can't use that same license for that new person. So the new person now becomes 101, 102. So that's why that number was there. Because I had that same question. If you got 4,000 employees, why is it 6,000? And as Dr. Witherspoon said, and Ms. Kopic said, Dr. Kopic said, I think it's multiple licenses per item, per suite, and per, what is it, Dr. Kopic, per machine. Right. So if you got a laptop and a desktop, that counts as a license for that person, if that makes sense.
Well, I understand, and I think in the future it would be helpful to set this out, because what this says is for approximately 6,000 staff.
I got you.
And that's not,
yeah.
that's not actually what it's for.
I got you.
It's for less than that, less staff than that, but multiple license for some of the staff. And I think it would be helpful to actually accurately describe what we're being asked to purchase, because that would make it easier to vote on and discuss.
Gotcha. Okay.
So let's make this easy.
Licenses.
Licenses. Let's switch it from staff to licenses. Everybody good? Any additional conversation or discussion before we vote? Commissioner Lomanak.
I'll withdraw my motion to table, given the responses that no money will be spent except for licenses that will be used, and that we will get a reporting of exactly how many licenses we used last year. And I'd like to see how many licenses and how many staff members used those licenses last year and for the proposal going forward. But I'll withdraw my motion to table.
Okay. Any additional questions or comments from anyone? Okay, at this time, we will call for the vote on everything that is under the consent agenda. Okay, I know that's a lot. We're good? All right, we'll call for the vote at this time. This is the original motion. Right, this is the original motion. I'm frozen still, a yes. This ain't my computer.
Oh, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-mm. Let the record reflect the motion did pass with 5 yeas and 1 abstention. We'll now move on to the Office of Operations with 8.1, which is a contract for the construction manager at Risk Services, CM-R, being presented by Ms. Outing.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Witherspoon, the administration is requesting approval to award contracts to construction manager at Risk Services to 2 vendors, Thompson Turner Construction of Sumter, South Carolina, and Contract Construction of Ballantyne, South Carolina, to provide guaranteed maximum price applicable services for specific projects coming up. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
It's been moved by Commissioner Myers and second by Commissioner Clyburn. We'll now open the floor for question or discussion. Commissioner Weston.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Outing, what is the deciding factor for actually recruiting or deciding on the projects that Thompson Turner and Contract Construction for the Early Childhood Center? What's that process?
They're determined based on the scope that's presented by facility services as and when the projects come up. Those evaluation criteria are established from facility services, and procurement is responsible for facilitating that.
Okay.
And just to piggyback on that, Commissioner Weston, the tie-in, how we voted on that professional architecture and engineering service, and that was a group of people that we pulled from. And you remember she said that depending on the scope of work, that's how that's allocated. This is an example of one of those type of projects.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's what they did. They just pulled from that list?
For the type of, the scope of work that the district is needing.
Okay.
Yeah. Any additional questions on this? Okay, seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. I ain't getting nowhere tonight. Let me do it this way. You good?
You come on.
I didn't figure it out. This ain't. This thing I'm from No. No, don't turn it off, because then we're gonna be in the fix. Yeah, I'm good. I'll be fine. I'm a yes. Thank you. Let the record reflect that the vote is unanimous and the contract construction manager at Risk Services has been approved. We'll now move forward to the contract construction manager at Risk Services CM-R agreement for the Vince Ford Early Learning Center. Ms. Outing.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Witherspoon, The administration is requesting approval to enter into a construction manager at-risk services agreement with Contract Construction to provide pre-construction phase of the Vince Ford Early Learning Center. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval. Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Myers and second by Commissioner Devine. We'll open the floor for question or discussion. Commissioner Myers.
Just a quick question. Can you give me a small outline what phase 2 and 3 will consist of?
It's Tony.
Mr. Cooper.
Cooper.
Hello, Mr. Cooper.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Witherspoon. And the CM at Risk Services, Phase 1 will actually be the pre-construction services, which we just spoke of. And the pre-construction services, that would entail providing a preliminary evaluation of the owner's program, the schedule and construction budget requirements, the construction, the phase construction, the various phases of the construction, the cost estimates, and the issuance of the guaranteed maximum price. Phase 1, GMP 1, is the early site work. And basically in the early site work, that would include the timber removal, the earthwork, the erosion controls, drainage, tree protection, underground utility installation. Then we'll move into GMP 2. And in GMP 2, that would consist of our concrete and steel. That is bringing the building vertical now. So GMP 2 and the concrete and steel, which include the fabrication and the erection of the building. Then we'll move along into phase 3, which is everything. That is the finishes on the building, that is the finishes on the groundwork, the landscaping, everything turnkey.
Okay. Answer your question?
Yep, thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Any additional questions? Commissioner Weston?
Yes, on this, you said that August 15th is slated to start the project.
Yes, ma'am.
And has the zoning meeting been held by the county yet?
The zoning meeting, no, has not been held. We had a preliminary with the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting, which they moved it forward to the county. But the county councilwoman wanted to have a town hall meeting. I think it's scheduled for the 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
21st.
6 o'clock at Garner's Ferry Adult Activity Center. So after that, then it will go before council.
Okay, so with the date being August 15th, the general starting date, will it cost us anything as a district to hold off on that until zoning has been done? Or are we going forward?
Yeah, planning and development has assured me that, no, that will not stop construction, that pending everything has been submitted, then we will be able to break ground. They will issue us a permit to do so.
Okay, so our date will not be August 15th? It's going to be after the 20th?
It's still going to be roughly that area. We have not received that permit yet, but the rezoning will not interfere with
that?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Thank you, guys, both of you.
Oh, I got it. I'm sorry.
Let the record reflect that the motion did pass for the construction manager at risk services agreement for the Vince Ford Early Learning Center. It did pass with 4 yeas and 2 abstentions. Commissioner Bishop, were you able to vote?
Yes, I was able to vote, but it didn't show up on the screen.
How did you vote?
It is a affirmative, yes.
Okay, so it passed with a 5 yeas and 2 abstentions. So we need to make sure that everyone is a yay vote, and the 2 abstentions are Commissioner Lomanek and Commissioner Weston. Yeah, it's doing its own thing tonight. Okay, we're good. Thank you, guys. Thank you, both of you. We'll now move on to the Office of Human Resources. We'll begin with our first administrative hire, 9-1 by Dr. Long.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners, and Dr. Witherspoon. The administration recommends hiring Makisha Sumter to the position of Assistant Principal at Sandell Elementary School for the 23-24 academic year. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Myers and second by Commissioner Devine. We'll now open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Let the record reflect that the vote did pass, 5 yeas and 2 abstentions. We'll now move on to administrative hire number 2, which is 9-2, Dr. Long.
The administration recommends hiring Heather Wallace to the position of Assistant Principal at E.E. Taylor Elementary School for the 23-24 academic year. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Devine and second by Commissioner Clyburn. We'll open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Let the record reflect that the administrative hire, as previously mentioned in 9-2, did pass, 5 yeas, 2 abstentions. We'll now move on to 9-3, which is administrative hire. Dr. Long.
The administration recommends hiring Shayna Mitchell to the position of Assistant Principal at Weber Elementary School for the 23-24 academic year. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Devine. We'll now open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Okay. Let the record reflect the administrative hire, as previously mentioned in 9-3, has been approved, 5 yeas, 2 abstentions. We'll now move on to the hiring of personnel, 9-4, Dr. Long.
The administration recommends hiring all the teachers on the attached list for the 23-24 academic year. There are 34 teachers listed. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval. Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Myers and second by Commissioner Clyburn. We'll now open the floor for question or discussion. Commissioner Weston.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I am concerned about the vacancies at schools and how it will impact teachers at the school who may need to coach or also mentor some of the new teachers or the new to the district, are they going to be compensated in any way, or that's just going to be an extra burden on them?
Are you asking that question in regards to the 34 teachers we're hiring? Because
Yeah.
we're at that question. So
Yes.
you're asking if the new teachers?
If the teachers who are coming to Richland 1, some of them are new, and they will need mentors, and they will need coaches. And so I'm asking, will those teachers who are assigned to them be compensated in any way?
Yes, all of our brand new teachers are assigned mentors. That's a requirement.
Right.
And they do receive compensation.
Okay.
Okay. Any additional questions? All right, we'll call for the vote. Let the record reflect the hiring of personnel vote is unanimous. All the teachers on the attached list has been approved. Thank you so much, Dr. Long.
You're welcome.
We'll now move on to the office of the board. We'll begin with 10-1, which is the appointment of the track naming committee. I am, if you would look on the desk to my colleagues, you should have a letter that was sent to us from Mrs. LaTanya Jackson in regards to one of our coaches at Drury High School that passed away, Coach Jackson. The request is the naming of the Drury track in memory of him. I am asking permission on tonight, and you all can make a motion to formulate a track naming committee. But again, I do need to have you all vote on that. So is there a motion, recommendation?
Madam Chair, I motion that we do give you the permission to appoint a track naming committee for this request that has been sent to us.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion to appoint a track naming committee by Commissioner Bishop. It's been properly seconded by Commissioner Myers. We'll now open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. We all having technical issues. Okay, let the record reflect 6 yeas and 1 abstention, giving permission to the chair to appoint a track naming committee. We will bring that back before you all, the listing by our next board meeting. We'll move on now to 10-2, which is the naming of the gym committee members. That's presented by me. Those individuals for the Theodis Oates Junior Gymnasium are from the community, Mr. Terry Taylor, Ms. Tanya Reese Tucker, Mr. Ryan Davis. Board member appointed has been Ms. Angela Clyburn. As for the district's personnel, and Dr. Witherspoon, I don't know what I did with my list. I'm sorry. Will be Dr. Derek Glover, Ms. Chrisella Goodman, and Ms. Sally McCants will serve on the Theodis Oates Junior Naming Committee. Once they have come back, have met, they will come back to us with a recommendation, and we will move forward at that time. So I just wanted to name that tonight. We'll move on now to 10-3, which is the board report. This is where the board members get to speak on involvement in the district outside of our normal chat with the chairs that have not started yet, as of yet, or any of our lunch buddy programs or any of that other wonderful, those wonderful activities that we participate in. But it does allow the board to report out. So at this time, we will open the floor for board reports. Commissioner Lomanak.
Just two things. One that I forgot to mention last time. The payroll issues that we saw last summer and the summer before, we did not see this summer. It doesn't mean everything was perfect. I got calls about individual issues, but that's the norm. And I don't think that we will ever escape that. So whatever changes the payroll department made this summer worked, or at least as far as I could tell from the lack of texts and phone calls that I received. So thank you for making the changes after last summer. Dr. Witherspoon, I am starting to get some concerns about the tuition assistance program. I know a couple of other commissioners have gotten at least one email about that. And if you could, just so folks know, I know there's tuition reimbursement, and then there's tuition assistance. And I think the tuition assistance is the ESSER-funded program. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And how much funding do we have? And that, obviously, we have to apply for that and have a plan. And if we change it, we have to amend that with the state, I assume. How much funding do we have set aside for the tuition assistance program?
My understanding, it was about $360,000 that was set aside for that program.
And that's part of the, is that under the category of teacher retention and recruitment as part of the ESSER funds?
Well, there was a larger category that spoke to not only tuition, but also some PD, micro-credentials, and some other items under that same line.
And what are the requirements? And I assume there are maximum amounts that any teacher can receive. What, do we post those anywhere on the website? Do we have those?
There was a presentation, my understanding, that was done by staff that talked about up to 6 hours, funds available, schedule, the length of time and the like.
And so to be clear, that program is continuing. We're not halting it or changing that funding in any way going forward. Is that correct?
That information was sent out. The program is still in existence.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, any additional board reports at this time? Commissioner Weston?
Thank you. I'd like to ask for my education, a copy of the tuition assistance information, because I've also received emails about that as well.
That can certainly be provided.
Thank you.
It's on the website. Commissioner Devine just pulled it up. He's on our website. It's under tuition reimbursement and it's under human resources. Go under tuition reimbursement and there's two links. One is for the reimbursement.
Madam Chair, that's a different.
Okay.
That's a different tuition reimbursement piece. This came out, what they're referring to came out of it was built into our ESSER plan.
Okay. Well, can we add that to the website?
We can.
It would be easier.
We can do that.
All right. Commissioner Devine. Well, you finished, Commissioner Weston? I'm sorry. Commissioner Devine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dr. Witherspoon, as you have these requests, we used to get these green or yellow sheets. Can we continue to get those? I know you give it to, I think last one we got maybe last quarter, because I know some of these things are going to be long-term and on-term and TBAs. We don't know necessarily dates. So could you get with, I guess, Ms. Wilson to do?
We will start those back, yes.
Yeah, so everybody's aware of what's on the sheet. So basically it's just a sheet that says the board asked for X, Y, and Z. Here's the proposed date that it should be given. And then staff kind of knows when that is. And then everybody is aware of what's going on at the same time. So there's information sharing across up and down the organization. I did want to report out, as I did it on last meeting, because the Superintendent Evaluation Committee did meet. Thank you, Chairwoman Harris. We met on July the 11th, and Attorney Boykin was there to give us an overview of the Superintendent Evaluation Instrument and process. There was no action taken. Minutes were approved at the last board meeting, but I did want to report out that there was no action taken, just information. There were two Scrivener's words that need to be replaced. So at some point when we get to the superintendent's evaluation with the instrument, we'll replace those two words based off what the board and the superintendent come up with as a team, and we'll move forward at that point. But I did want to report out that we did meet finally after some times of me being out. So I did want to report out that we did meet, no action taken, but we did review the form, and we'll go from there. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Devine. So with that being said, Eva, if you can prepare our evaluation instruments to go out in September, after we make those corrections, and if you can get those instruments out to us next month would be good. All right, thank you. Any additional board reports? Any additional board reports? Okay, I'll go ahead and give mine. I wasn't at the last meeting. Certainly want to thank Vice Chairman Dr. Bishop for stepping in for us while we were traveling. But I did have an opportunity to attend the leadership conference. I don't know if Dr. Commissioner Clyburn reported out or not, but I just want to thank Dr. Prince, I think was the person that spearheaded that, and the team, the executive directors, all of you, for what you did in that leadership conference. I believe it was very impactful and powerful, and it has really set the tone for our upcoming school year. So I just wanted to say kudos to you all on that. I've been at the Noodle One for our new teachers, participated in the National Night Out at Lower Richland, was in attendance to the Lower Richland Cluster Breakfast with all of the principals there. Great food, great fellowship, and plans for that cluster. I attended the Dominion Energy and Darla Moore Power Up program. This is a partnership that we have there with Dominion. And Commissioner Bishop, you may remember this when Dominion was first coming in to acquire SC&G. One of the things that we asked them as we were a part of that team was, put the money where your mouth is. You all will tell us this good game to get what you want, but then you don't fulfill it. But, in this project, you see Dominion Energy really taking a very active role in making sure that this program is being funded for our students. And Dr. Wisman, what would you say, about 30 or 40 of our students, roughly?
Between the two districts.
Well, with just Richland 1, we had probably about, one school had 15 by itself. Yeah. About 20, somebody said 25?
25.
Okay, about 25 students total from Richland 1 gets to participate in this amazing program. So certainly want to thank Darla Moore, USC School of Business, and Dominion Energy for this great partnership, collaboration with our students, and what it will provide for them in the future. And also for us kind of piloting what they want to do on a state level here with our school. So we did attend that event. We were also at, I believe it's the new Mr. Brown and security, our new security officers, that meeting that you had with them. We got a chance to meet our new security staff that will be implementing the metal detectors at our middle schools, another fired up bunch of individuals that's ready to go and impact the lives of our students. Today we were at the SRO training that was held over at Hayward to speak with our SROs. Another great event, and just simply thanking them on behalf of this board in advance for what they will do to ensure the safety of our students in the 23-24 year, and to thank them for not just the services that they provide, but the relationship that they build with our students. And then on last night, we hosted our annual commissioners information session in the Lower Richland cluster. This was our 8th year. I want to thank Eva, our executive assistant, and all of those, Tracy Cooper and others that helped to put on an amazing event. Dr. Witherspoon, I certainly want to thank your principals in that cluster for being there 100%. And that has been the buzz all day long. We've heard from pastors and different nonprofits in the area that are really excited about the team that you've put in place in the Lower Richland cluster. You really could see the unity and their desire to move that cluster forward. So certainly wanted to share that with my colleagues. Thank those that were able to be there with me, Commissioner Weston and Commissioner Clyburn, that was also in attendance. We will do this again. And again, this is a commitment that I made When I first got elected almost 11 years ago, Commissioner Bishop, the community wanted, direct engagement with me to know what was going on in our schools and whatnot, because we don't have a lot of internet and all that other good stuff down there. So we bring the information to the table, we feed our community, and we have discussion. And yesterday was another one of those events, and this is now the 8th year. And I see Mr. Alden over there that practically attends all of them. So I want to thank you for being a very visible presence in that. And then lastly, I just have 2 announcements to make on behalf of the Alumni Foundation. Weber alumni and Lower Richland alumni are coming together with the elected body within the Lower Richland cluster to put on a massive back to school celebration on Saturday. It will be hosted at the Lower Richland Gymnasium for the students in the community. And that is one of the events that the foundation, the alumni will host. They will host a back to school bash from 10 to 2 at Zion Mill Creek. And then at 11, there will be a second one. So there will be 2 bashes going on at the same time simultaneously to make sure we get as many kids impacted as possible. And then on that Monday, the same group of individuals is planning on going into Eastover, South Carolina, namely the Lewis Scott Court subdivision apartments down there, to make sure that every kid has the supplies that they need to go back to school. And I just want to publicly thank them. I'm a part of that, but I want to thank them because they do a lot of volunteering, and they don't have to do it, Dr. Witherspoon, but they do it with so much passion and heart. And then I want to thank Senator Jackson and Representative Jermaine Johnson and Councilwoman Chiquise Newton and Cheryl English, Commissioner Myers, who will be doing some braiding hair, and Commissioner Clyburn, who all have partnered with us to fund this event, along with those foundations and the churches in the community, to make sure that our children have much needed supplies. So that concludes my report. Are there any other reports at this time? Okay, seeing none, hearing none, we'll move on now to the Office of the Superintendent with 11-1, which is a student transfer request, and that's going to be presented on tonight by Dr. Coles.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Witherspoon, the administration recommends approval of the out-of-district transfer and full tuition waiver for the students with initials JW and MW for enrollment in Richland 1 for reasons outlined during executive session. The administration recommends approval pending release from the Zone School District, Richland School District 2. The administration so recommends.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval. Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Clyburn. We'll open the floor for question and discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Let the record reflect the vote is unanimous. The student transfer request has been approved as previously stated in 11-1. 11-2, student transfer request.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Witherspoon, the administration recommends the approval of the out-of-district transfer for the student with the initials MH to HJ Lewis Greenview Elementary School for the reasons outlined during executive session. The administration recommends approval of the transfer with the full tuition waiver. Kershaw County School District has approved this release. The administration so recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval. Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Clyburn. We open the floor for question or discussion. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Let the record reflect the vote is unanimous. The student transfer request, as mentioned in 11-2, has been approved. Thank you so much, Dr. Coles. We'll now move on to 11-3, which is the superintendent's report. Dr. Witherspoon.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Madam Chair, board members, before I get into my report, I would just like to state there was a question in saying about payroll issues. with regard to summer programs. We did a presentation last fall. They were not payroll issues. The issues were information being in the system to be paid. There was a follow-up question before we went into the summer, and I did address that that there were systems and processes in place this year that would follow up and be sure that, again, those employees were indeed in the system. So just wanted to clarify, it was not a payroll issue. That being said, I will go into the superintendent's report. Preparations for the start of the 2023-2024 school year are in high gear throughout the district. The first day of school for our students is Wednesday, August 16th. Our teachers will return to work tomorrow, August 9th. We're excited about welcoming students back to school, and we look forward to what promises to be another great school year for the entire Richland One team. Also, tomorrow, August 9th, we will hold our back-to-school convocation, which serves as our official kickoff to the new school year for district employees. We are keeping the Team One Team as our theme again for this year. The conversation will be held at Dreher High School starting at 9 a.m. The link to the live stream will be accessible from the homepage on our website, richlandone.org. The recording of the convocation will be posted on R1 TV on demand and on R1 TV on Spectrum Cable 1303. Last Thursday, as Chairwoman Harris did mention, August 3rd, the Darla Moore School of Business at USC held a fall kickoff for the Dominion Energy Power Forward High School Pipeline Program. Students from Richland 1 and Richland 2 were selected to participate in the Power Forward program this year. We have 25 students in the program, which is a collaboration between the Darla Moore School of Business, Dominion Energy, and the two school districts. The goal of Power Forward is to spark students' interest in business careers and to provide them with information and opportunities and resources available at the Darla Moore School of Business. Students will receive career mentoring, and they will engage in field studies, conferences, and other activities designed to empower them for success inside and outside of the classroom. We extend our appreciation again to Dr. Dean Rohit Verma, Dr. Deborah Hazard, and their staff at the Darla Moore School of Business, and to Dominion Energy for their financial support of the Power Forward program. We're excited about the opportunities and advantages that this program will offer our students. On Friday, August 4th, Columbia High School held an event to kick off and promote the school's new National Defense-themed magnet. As a part of the event, students had a chance to check out an attack helicopter from the Celebrate Freedom Foundation, which landed outside of the school. Columbia High's new magnet program will have 4 academies: pre-engineering, biomedical, cybersecurity, and aerospace. It is one of 3 BLAST, or Building Lasting Aerospace and STEAM Trajectories, magnet programs funded through a $14.9 million Magnet School Assistance Program grant the district was awarded by the U.S. Department of Education. The grant is also funding new aerospace magnet programs at Watkins Nance Elementary School and W.A. Perry Middle. For more information, go to richlandone.org/choice. And we know it's time to get back to school because it's football season. Sportsorama 2023 will be held this Saturday. We'll have a busy Saturday, August 12th at the stadium at W.J. Keenan. Sportsorama is our annual football jamboree, which is co-sponsored by the Richland Sertoma Club. And Coach Matz, that's been about 50 years, 62 years and counting. The pregame show will begin at 6:15 p.m. and the first of 4 games will kick off at 6:30. Tickets are $8 each. For more information, including how to purchase tickets, please go to our website. Again, this year, our clear bag policy will be enforced at Sportsorama and at all football games held at district stadiums during the year. And Madam Chair, and you mentioned this, and and we all have been out and about, and I just want to say thank you to the entire Richland One community. There have been back-to-school events held across the footprint, and I think we've all had an opportunity to visit and see the outpouring. And we've had an opportunity, Commissioner Myers, we were at the Belfield Center Thursday or Friday, and saw some of our young people, and they're ready. They are ready. So to the Richland One community, thank you all for providing these back-to-school activities with events. Coach Dawn Staley with her Inner Soul Foundation provided sneakers for students in that area. But again, thank you to the entire Richland One community for support of our students and our families as we enter this 2023-2024 school year. Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Dr. Witherspoon, for your report on tonight. We'll open the floor for any questions or discussion about the superintendent's report. Commissioner Bishop?
No question, Madam Chair. Just wanted to let you know that there's been nothing but positive feedback that I've heard about the reasoning and the increase for tickets for sporting events. So many people were just very, they understood very much about the rise of security costs and other things that are associated with athletic events. So just wanted to make sure I told Dr. Witherspoon and Mr. Coach Metz about that. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Bishop. Any additional questions or comments? Commissioner Devine?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dr. Witherspoon, as we look forward to 2023-24 school year at Columbia High School with the new magnet program, those students who want to participate, can we do transfer now, or we have to wait till next year to make that happen?
I think we can do that now, but we would ask through that transfer process with magnet, but we're a week away, so
Correct.
I would
So just follow the process as always, and then if there's any additional follow-up, they can go to the next level.
That is correct.
As we've done in the past.
That is correct.
And the same for the elementary and the middle school as well.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. And just to reiterate, I think we proved this in the budget. So Keenan magnet program still continues, correct?
That is correct. What was impacted was that leadership strand.
Okay. We are. Okay.
And we are, and I will say this, Commissioner Devine Board, there was some questions about transportation still going on, and we will be bringing an item to you all about that. But one of the issues is drivers, because
personnel.
we did start the new magnet
that
transportation is built into as well. So that's what transportation is working on and all of that. But we will certainly keep the board informed.
Very good. Thank you. And we'll put that on that green or yellow sheet.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Right. And to that point, Commissioner Vine, we ask that our colleagues please be sure to give those items to our executive assistant, because she does keep up with that for us. And if we don't give it to her, there's no way for us to know what you're requesting. So we need to make sure that we are giving that to her. And please understand that some of the things that we ask for takes more than an overnight type deal. We're about to open schools. So the focus right now are welcoming our students back and making sure all of our T's are crossed and I's are dotted. Want to throw out the challenge, Commissioner Bishop?
All right. I got you.
We got 52 schools. August 16th, let's hit it. We need to visit our schools and not just to come there and peep through the window, but to spend some quality time with our students. But in all seriousness, you all know every year we challenge the board to be in our schools. As you're visiting the schools, please give those schools to our executive assistant, Eva, who keeps the tally. That is to make sure that all of our schools see a board member the first week. And if the 7 of us do our part, we can make it happen. Now, some of us will go out here and be courageous and crazy like myself and try to hit all 52. But we want to make sure that we visit all of our schools. So as we are knocking those schools out, we ask that you please reach out to Eva so she can mark through it on the list, because we want to impact every school and let every school know and feel supported by this board. That is critically important that they know that. So what's that?
Substitute?
Are we going to substitute?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Be a substitute teacher.
Absolutely. You want to substitute?
I'll substitute.
Dr. Long? She wants to substitute.
All of us need to substitute with no experience what they're going through.
Trust me, I get my fair share, but I don't think legally speaking we can do that, right? Attorney Richardson? Amen. Okay, no substitute.
Madam Chair, I will be doing selfies with all of my principals to assure that I was at every school that I said I am.
That's right. That's right. So let's get excited, guys, because I can tell you right now, the staff of Richland 1 is fired up and ready to go. If you've been at any of these leadership new to one events, I mean, anything, they're excited. And to run into some young people in the grocery store and they told me they were ready to come back to school. I was like, well, we must be doing something right, because the babies say they're ready to come back to school. So let's get excited as a board. We are the leadership, and we need to be seen. Not just heard, but we need to be seen. So let's make sure that we do our part to visit our schools. Commissioner Devine.
Dr. Witherspoon, can you remind us of our theme for this year?
Theme this year, team one team.
Okay.
But I was saving this.
Oh,
till
wait.
I was saving this till tomorrow.
Okay,
till tomorrow.
I'm good. I'm sorry. We'll wait. No problem.
Okay.
All right.
We
Thanks,
will
sir.
always be R1 strong.
But
All
yeah,
right.
that is true.
That's right.
Anything, even though we are one strong,
Right.
That's right.
and any district that have gone through 1,000-year flood and the stuff we done been through and COVID, you can't help but be R1 strong. So that's gonna always be our theme. I just want to put that out there. But to all of my colleagues, let's get busy with what we got to do this year. I look forward to seeing you all in the morning. If there's no further discussion or questions, we have one announcement, and that is the next regular scheduled meeting of the Richland 1 Board of Commissioners will be held on Tuesday, August the 22nd, here at the Stevenson Administration Building, which is 1616 Richland Street. If there's no objection from my colleagues, consider yourselves dismissed. Have a good night, everyone.